Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coast Football Weekly. This week we're joined by someone who has experienced football on the Central Coast from almost every angle. Welcome to the pod, Greg Brownlow.
No, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Now, you're a man who wears many hats across Central Coast, especially in the footballing space. So tell me where it all began for you as a player.
Yeah, good question. Played as a junior, originally from the Newcastle area.
Yep.
Played for Lake Macquarie as a kid. Played multiple sports like most Australians do, I think. So really enjoyed the football. I have a tennis background, so kind of dual sport, and then got really into tennis and went to the US on scholarship for tennis. And,
Oh, wow. What was that experience like?
It was, outstanding.
Yeah.
I'm reasonably a bit older than you, I know. So it was in 1986.
Yeah.
I think I was 16 or so. So to go to university then, it was the other side of the world. I was just telling someone the other day, writing home to my parents, I'd send a letter like a week later. They get it.
A bit different to what
reverse
they can do
charge
these days.
phone calls and have to book them. And so it was pretty wild experience. So
What university?
Austin Pay is in Tennessee.
Okay.
It was good, Division I. Had a really good experience there. Did what a lot of people do, started on the pro tour, got an injury in the shoulder, and end up in coaching.
Yep.
So coached for Tony Roach for a period of time. He had a resort up. Tony's famous for coaching Hewitt and Federer and all those guys. I was his tennis director for about 5 years at his resort, and then coached on the pro tour, women's and men's. So I had a pretty extensive tennis background. Interestingly, as I came back into football, the guy who was president of the club that was near the tennis center I played at was a mate of mine, and he said to me, "Look, we need some players. Are you interested in playing?" He said, "Why don't you come and watch a game?" So I went and watched the game, and I sent him a message that said, "Mate, I reckon I can walk faster than half your team." So little did I know, he signed me up, paid my registration. So it was my kick back into football.
So you had quite a bit of a break.
I played as a junior till I was probably about 15, and then but always enjoyed it and like watching it. I'm a tragic Tottenham Hotspur fan, and as a young person watching the FA Cup, and have a bit of a weird story with Craig Johnson. My father built his parents' house, and he went to school with my sister. We were at Berkeley High School, so kind of weirdly around football and followed it, particularly Craig for a long period of time when he ended up at Middlesbrough and then Liverpool.
Achieved a lot. Yeah, what a player.
Yeah, what a player. So the high school I went to, Berkeley High School, was back then was called the Tasman Cup. They were really good in the Tasman Cup. So football just seemed to always be around. And then when I moved to the coast, particularly for Central Coast Sports College, was as a tennis guy, and I ran the tennis there for many years. But as you would know, the school was the National Football School, Mariners campus, when I first got there. Interesting story, and I just love sport. I like the administration side of sport, and I like playing it.
And when did that move to the coast come about? What year was that?
2013. So I met Paul Chapman, the founder of the Sports College, in the January. Sport Connections. My tennis coach as a junior sent me a message. Paul had put a media release out, and it was in the Newcastle Herald. And I had a pretty successful academy of a lot of juniors that were playing the World Junior Tour, and were traveling all over the world, which was nice with them. But we were based in Raymond Terrace, and I had a full-time academy program. So the kids were training up to 30 hours a week, which in the individual sport they need to be. That was holistic and took everything in. And there was probably about 12 to 15 of them coming out of their own individual schools. So we're trying to work with the schools. Yeah. But when I found out Paul had started the school, the football school back then, my old tennis coach said, "Hey, this is what you've been looking for." It's quite hard to connect with all individual schools. Yeah. I think I wore him down. I think I annoyed him. Said, "You need to start tennis here." Yeah. But I've had multiple roles at the sports college, and it's just a fantastic place. And I think if you're a sport lover, it's
in 13 years,
connected.
it's obviously grown a lot since then. Obviously known as the sports college now, not just the football school.
Absolutely, rebranding in the end of 2018 into 2019, and we brought a whole bunch of other sports in, rugby league and rugby union back at that stage, but that didn't kind of take off. But we had basketball and dance, and netball. Yeah, it's quite incredible.
And when you first moved to the coast, did you have many connections here, or how did you sort of end up at Berkeley Vale as a player?
Yeah, I love your questions. They're good. So I wanted to play. I actually still played in the Newcastle over 35 competition. For the first 12 months, I think, and I didn't really know anyone in football here apart from some mates that told me about a few different clubs. So I trialed for. I just went to your website actually,
Right.
and found some clubs. And we were living back then at East Gosford, I think. I sent some messages out and got a call back from the guys that ran the 35As at Arimba. Said, hey, why don't you come along? There's one spot left. Come along and do a training session. I think the first session they ran 15 laps of the oval. I was like, wow, this is going to be tough. And then I played a trial game, and the guy said to me, look, the guys that you will take your spot, he's not going to play, you're good for it. And he said, we start skin fold testing soon, and we're running the Haven in the start of January. And I'm like, what? It's over 35. I think he took the look on my face. I said, mate, it's probably not for me. I want to play. I want to be competitive. So he said, look, the Berkeley Vale guys are really good, pretty competitive in 35As, and you can maybe give them a shout out. So I did. Ended up in a training session there, and haven't looked back. I love the clubs, good feel about it, and I think football on the coast is healthy and a lot of good clubs out there. So,
were you ever involved in a sort of a volunteering role before you ended up at Berkeley Vale?
Not from that football club. So interestingly, at the club I was at in Newcastle, which is the Thornton Redbacks, I was literally just about to go onto their executive committee, and we moved down here to the coast. So I'd had a little bit behind the scenes, and I've been on tennis committees and club committees for some time, and some good stuff with Tennis New South Wales, Tennis Australia. So, I kind of knew a little bit about that side of it, obviously. But then came into Berkeley Vale, and as I said, the club was really good. It has a good feel about it. It's a really family-connected club. So they asked me to be on the executive around 6 years ago, I think. Did that for a couple of years, and then Brad Perry was the young president there, doing his best. And I think about at that stage to have a young family, and he pulled me aside and said, look, if I step down, are you keen to take on the president's role? And I guess the rest is history, good or bad.
Was there any thoughts of maybe I'm not ready or time consuming, or were you just going home from there?
Yeah, that's my character, I think. Just go for it. It's then you got to manage what I told my wife, right? I got multiple roles.
Did you think when you first got involved in the committee that just how many years later you would be president of this club?
No, I didn't think that way. I think what I liked about it is I saw passionate people. And they, as I said, really good family club. I felt like a lot of clubs at grassroots level, you got, and I'm big in the coaching side. So coaching's, as you well know, in club, people put their hand up for it. They probably don't, a lot of them, respectfully, have a lot of experience, but they're doing the best they can, and it's out of the goodness of their heart. So kind of had a thought process that we could help the coaching side. So that was where I was really focused. I think my first role in the exec was junior vice president. So, and then quickly realised they're massive roles. We're a big club. We were, I think back then, had about 700 members. And you look at clubs like Terrigal and Kincumber, it's amazing the job that those people do. I thought, okay, how do we then structure the committee? So I was thinking that way. And then coming at president, I think that allowed me to have, I've got some good vision myself, but about collaboration and bringing people in that have good energy and really want to have the same vision and do things, and then also have really good input. And we, in my opinion, we have that at Berkeley Vale now. It's really good.
And still playing to this day. How's the season going for you boys?
Strong. Yeah. And I'm proud of that. I'm 57. I don't feel 57 as what happens when we get older, right? I still think I'm 15 at some stage. I play for over 35s. They interestingly have a nickname called the Drunks, so that's it's an interesting one. But we great bunch of guys, really good group to play in, and it's a mix of players, to be honest. There was a few guys when I first came to them a few years ago, hadn't played too much before, and there's a bunch of guys I play with in 35A. So but they're all trying. For me in sport, and particularly as we get older, and to be honest, in my coaching days, I'm pretty driven personally, and I feel like I don't really care what level people are at. I just feel like people should put their best effort in, and I don't get frustrated often. But in my own head, it's people that I know I've got a lot of ability or should do better that don't. So we're all a bit like that.
Yeah.
But these guys, I thought, wow, pound for pound, didn't matter what level they're at, they're just having a crack.
Yeah.
And that's good. And you come off the field and they're all good blokes. So. And then the guys I was kind of ended up there, the guys I was playing with in 35As didn't want to play anymore. So there was 2 of us end up in an all-age side.
Yeah.
So I played there for a couple of years and then filled in for the 35s.
Yep.
The drunks. And then started to play with them, and then I play with the middle son, Noah, in all age on a Sunday. So I got the best of everything, I think.
Yeah, well, you got 2 sons currently play for the club. What's that like?
Yeah, amazing. Jake, is one of the stars in my opinion for Berkeley Vale.
Definitely former player of the year in Premier League. So he's quite a quality player.
Yeah, he is. One of the reasons I try to play in multiple teams, so at least if I score, I can kind of match him somewhere. But it takes me about 4 teams, and he does it in one. It's great. Like the Jake's had a good crack at football. He spent some time with Sutton United in England, and he played for Central Coast United, and great club. And he's a real, as an individual, family person and a club person. His time with Stu and Matty Crow and Powley there at when he came through Central Coast United it's just brilliant. Jake to a T. Like, he loves that club. He hasn't played there for some time now, but he's a real club-oriented guy, I feel. He's the same at Berkeley Vale. He's good. I haven't pulled any cards on him. He had some offers from other clubs, but maybe the look I gave him at times was that he needed to play for Berkeley Vale. But he spent some time up at Western in Newcastle. He played there as a junior, and then he went back up as played NPL there for a while. So he's good. So it's good to have him at the club and involved. And he's 26, Jake, so he's doing his thing. Noah spent some time. He's our middle son in the when it was 21s. Felt like it probably wasn't for him. So he plays with his mates, and fortunately I'm one of those that he chose to play with in all age. But he's the same. He just loves playing. He's brought a couple of his mates into that team. And, they're a group really good young fellas, and we're a bit of that team. I think we've played everywhere from all age 2s. We're in all age 6s this year. Yeah. We're trying to bring some of the young kids through for their first time at men's football, and then they can go off and play 21s or whatever. So I enjoy that. I think they call me soccer dad or soccer granddad now. So usually with ChatGPT end up with one of those frames when they put me up. But I really enjoy it.
What was the experience like when you first got to play with your son?
Yeah.
Did you ever think that would happen?
No, and you don't get opportunities like that very often. It's chuffed. It's good. Number one, like that he wants to play with me. That means I think my wife and I have done a good job parenting. We've got a beautiful young daughter as well. She's 20. She's the tennis player, by the way. So she always tells me that she must be the favourite child because she went down the sport that is predominantly me. It's really good. But I also find myself, I hear, a bit unembarrassing, but I hear him sometime because if he's not working hard enough, I let him know.
Yeah, of course.
And I hear him sometimes say to the opposition centre back, that guy's my dad. Okay, maybe I've gone a little bit far this time. Yeah, look, he's a great player. No, he's really highly skillful. And so to see that, both the boys and my daughter have all come through the sports college and at different times. And, the sports college has grown massively over the last 13 years. And, Paul's an innovative mind, and I feel like he's got a fantastic staff around him that thinks that way as well. So, it's always pushing the boundaries. And our kids, if I step outside my role there and look from a parent, have all reaped the benefit from being in the sports college environment. And they're not all the same. Jake's highly competitive, like me. Ella's competitive, but is not really into from a tennis perspective, tournament side. She just likes the vibe, I suppose, that young kids call it. And Noah kind of sits in the middle. Like, he likes to play and he has a great time. And, but I think all that is testament to them coming through the sports college and really getting that, good relationships with adults and the mentors that they've got. They still stay in touch with their advisors and teachers as they came through. So I think that's testament to to the sports college and the job they've done with their own kids. Yeah.
Speaking more on you as a player currently, being a president, is it easier to switch off when you go on the field or a bit harder?
Yeah. I said before, you ask good questions. It making me think. Look, I'm quite capable to just switch on and let things go, because I do have a few different roles, fortunately for me, across the coast. But I try not to pull the president's card. There's a few guys on my team keep asking me to pull the president's card at a time, but it's also good to have an observation, because it's competitive sport. It doesn't matter what level you play. You're playing with adults, some who have played a lot, some who haven't. They call it white line fever in football.
Plenty of that on the
There's
Central
plenty
Coast.
of that. And you got referees and all that kind of stuff. And I think from my perspective, I have a good relationship with the referees. I think that has got to be one of the toughest jobs in the world at any level, whether you're professional or whether you're amateur. And amateur's probably more difficult than professional. So those guys giving up their time on the weekend. And so I kind of take all that in, I suppose. I'll track back to the fact I'm fully aware that I'm extremely competitive. So that allows me to switch on.
I mean, I'm not a referee, and at the end of the day, it's 22 against 1. I don't think I could do it so a testament to the referees that we do have out there. And they do an amazing job across our Central Coast region.
Absolutely. And you just pointed to it, over 35s, I think everyone's a referee, right? Everyone has an opinion. And
everyone knows the game better than anyone.
Correct, they do a great job.
What's the most rewarding part of being a president, especially at Berkeley Vale?
Like, you have a vision, and my vision was an extension of what I thought was already there and what I'd heard people talk about the Berkeley Vale Club over the long history, 50 plus years now, about the family side of it, and that's really important. Like, we should be playing sport. As I said, I'm a young 57, and my whole life revolves around family and sport. So trying to make sure at our club that's what we think about. So as president, you get the opportunity to then work with existing people and then bring others in who have the same thought and the same value, and you can observe people's behavior and how they are with their own families. And, to be honest, I look around now and it is a testament to them all. Like, I'm just a small part of it. We've brought a good group together. We have a culture group, which I named Culture Group. They still keep calling it Culture Club, but I'm adamant it's Culture Group. Culture Club's a band, right? But that group started. I brought in some ladies that were part of the club that I knew were really efficient. They were really family, and they were thinking the right way from my perspective. And they really drove it the first year. And now that's grown. I think we've probably got 20 plus people in the culture group. And they're really about making sure we stay true to the values of the club and the vision of the club, and then also helping with all the stuff that volunteers do, which is some ground official stuff and making sure we fundraise well and just put the club future-proof, hopefully. That's really our intent. But it's difficult. It's people's time. And it's it seems to be across all the teams for us. There seems to be that really good family feel. I noticed this last couple of years, the guys that have come out of grade and now they're played all age little, and now they're in over 35s. They're coaching their young kids who are coming through the 5s and 6s, and then their wives are playing. We have 3 over 35 women's teams at Berkeley Vale. They're playing, some of them the first time ever. I mean, that's, as a president, that's what it's about, right?
Seeing those first grade players too, like, give back to their club. It's as a president, I'm sure that's one of the most rewarding parts to see. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And we have some opportunities and challenges at Berkeley Vale. We have Mingara as a brilliant sponsor, our major sponsor. And we use the field for grade at Mingara. We have Karaba, as you know, and we have Chittaway.
So 3 venues.
3 venues. We can be a little bit disconnected. And one of our missions, and I can openly say I don't think we've quite got it right yet, is the disconnection sometimes between grade, because we don't see them a lot if you don't, people don't go to the game. So that's an opportunity for us to think a little differently in how we can do that better.
Especially because most clubs, they do only have the one venue to sort of worry about most weeks. So
that's right.
When you're managing 3, I'm sure that brings its own challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably that little bit of, I don't know if last frontier is the right statement, but it is around trying to really make sure that we connect the whole club to the grade, because that should be one of the pathways, People coming through, whether they want to go to all age or whether they want to come into 23s and then have a crack at grade, as long as, or they go to Central Coast United or they go to the Mariners system, we're there to provide those opportunities for the young people and try to do that really well. So if we're a little bit disconnected, it can get a bit lost in the way.
I believe, 2 years ago, you celebrated your 50-year anniversary of Berkeley Vale, the club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Good year. Your first grade one.
Correct.
Won the grand final out here at Plume Park.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you, the players, and the club as a whole?
Yeah, that's one of those life experiences in sport, without sounding weird, but it was so big. I was talking to you a little bit earlier about Ham, the goalkeeper who'd been in a few grand finals there and hadn't won. And you got Pratty, Mark Pratt, who's testament to Mark, the behind-the-scenes effort that he's put into our grade system over the years. And to the point that he was ready to step down, I said to him, look, just give me 24 hours. I think I might have someone, and that one was obviously Andre.
Yeah. Pretty good pull.
Pretty good pull, yeah. I work with Andre at the sports college, so known him for a bunch of years. He's a good human being. So I went back to Mark and said, look, I think we might land him. So, so that all that in a nutshell. And we had a plan to, okay, let's try to win it, yeah? If you're in grade, be competitive. Let's try to win it, stay true to ourselves. So we felt like we had the pieces together. So then in the 50th year, there's a whole lot of hype. We had a new strip, playing strip. And it means a lot to people. There's a lady, Philomena, her and her husband there at the very start of the club, was in and around. So to hear her stories, and then, you hear people that are life members and they've been involved in the club, and everyone's got a story, and a really good story. So that 50th year was a big one for us. So, when we won it here, and this is a brilliant venue for football, and you guys do a really good job. It was a big celebration. Wisely, I put myself as designated driver for a couple of guys who I won't mention, who I knew might have got a little spicy on that night.
Carried away.
Yeah, exactly. The feeling. My son was in that team, and we were here as a family. It was just something else. It was something special. Yeah.
And for you that year, what was it? 50th year, and you played 50 games throughout the season. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So the connected story is, I took a long service term off the sports college, and we did some traveling. So I'll get to answer your thing in a minute. We went to Thailand, and then we did the Great Ocean Road, and had an absolutely fantastic time. The outcome of that was I put on about 16 kilo. So Jake, my older son's into holistic health and done his stuff through the Czech Institute, and really into it. So he bought my wife and I a Christmas present, to which I wasn't aware that was a full body cleanse. So we got to about a week before, and we kind of pushed it back when we were going to do it, and we got to about March, and so to my wife, we should actually find out what this is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, went through it. I won't give you all the detail, but so I lost pretty quickly about 12 kilos, and then went on to lose like that 16 kilo back plus some. So the stars were aligning, and I felt weirdly, I feel like even when I was a bit heavy, I was still reasonably athletic. I don't get tired or exhausted too much. Maybe I need to work out a bit. So I think being a tennis player through my youth, and you get that kind of build up resilience. I played football. I noticed that no longer was I sucking air in after 10 minutes, and I felt pretty good. So I was filling in, played over 35s, played all age on the Sunday, filled in for the over 45s for Berkeley Vale that year. And then you guys, as we were talking about earlier, put out some people that had played a whole bunch of games, and I'd played, I think at that stage, about 37. A guy, Mitch Pont in the club, sent me a private message. Says, "Is this actually true?" So I was doing the math. It's like, and then I thought, why not? 50 years. How cool would it be to get 50 games?
So originally it wasn't a goal. It was only until you sort of realised how close you were, and you thought, let's see if we can make it to 50.
Yeah, I love playing. So as much as I can play, the better. And my wife will no doubt listen to this, but if I tell her I'm going to football, it doesn't mean that I'm only playing one game, right? I'm just at football. So if I play a couple of games, but once I got to that, I thought that'd be something pretty cool to do, and I made it with the last game.
Moving on from Berkeley Vale, a lot of people might know you if they're Mariner supporters. You were the CEO for the Central Coast Mariners. How did that come about? Yeah,
look, I'll say at the start, incredible experience and incredible opportunity, and I'm really thankful to Mike Charlesworth, who was the owner of the club then, for the opportunity. We've had a strategic partnership with the Mariners for virtually the whole time of the sports college, and Paul was originally actually on the board of the Mariners, and it was in National Football School, Mariners campus. So he kind of went to the then owners and pitched what he was going to do, and didn't kind of care what the school was called. He just said, "Okay, this is my vision. This is what it's going to look like." So that's been there through Sean Millenkamp, who was did a fantastic job in my opinion as CEO there, and was really testament to him for what he's done for the club. And me personally managed that relationship, so I kind of knew a whole lot of the ins and outs. And then when Richard Peel came in, I worked closely with Richard and then his staff. So I knew a whole lot of the ins and outs. Yeah. So Paul had a conversation with Mike, and from that it eventuated that I came on board. So it was a really good experience.
Going from grassroots to a professional environment, was there anything that sort of took you by storm, or what were the sort of challenges involved that you didn't think coming from a grassroots football that you didn't really expect or think about before stepping in that environment?
It is a different landscape, because you're obviously in our country, that's the apart from the national teams, the pointy end of the pathway, so that's something to manage. The academies, it's the pointy end of grassroots football for pathway here. So you got all these layers, and then how you help clubs understand what that pathway is, because you can get quite absorbed in your own patch. I've been, as I said before, involved in professional sport in the tennis environment and different sports, but to a certain extent, same, behind the scenes. So I know what, and I'd had a crack at being a professional athlete myself, so I kind of knew what that looked like. I knew what working with players looked like. Yeah, it's a different experience because it is, you're dealing with volunteers in grassroots, and they're passionate, their families, they'll have some attachment internally to the club, and that brings opportunity and challenges in itself, right? Everyone's got different views and how things should go. So, but fundamentally, volunteers giving up their time. So it's a different way to deal, I think. And then in the professional environment, only in my experience, you get a lot of passionate fans who work within the industry. So, and they're working, so they're paid obviously, and that's a different style of management. And everyone's got their own style. I have my style, probably suits some and doesn't suit others. That's just normal.
That's it.
I'm okay with that. I felt like I had and still do have a good background and understanding of what the sporting arena looks like from an administration point of view. The challenge I would say is that it's an individual owner during my time. When I came in, Mike was openly prepared to move the club on. So that creates some angst, I suppose, just around knowing stuff. Future. You know stuff that you aren't able to talk about. And, I think I've sat in front of a microphone last year a whole lot of time. And, you have an understanding of what might happen, but you just can't talk about it. So that's a challenge, but that's also my own personal growth to be able to deal with that. And openly, I think I dealt with some things good and some things I can do better. So, that's probably the most challenging part, I feel. It's an individual owner where you have, in the role that I had as CEO, you have control, but I didn't own the club. So it's also someone else's control, and how that operates is something that you have to manage on a personal level. But look, grassroots sport's massive, and as we know here on the Central Coast, is credit to you guys how you manage it, and all the clubs. The growth is incredible, particularly in the little ones, and female participation rates through the roof. And we're biased, right? In the Central Coast, we're doing it the best here. But the participation, when you look at the numbers, is just incredible. And then you add in the volunteers and the coaches and the managers and the people behind the scene. And
such a big network here on the coast.
A huge network.
Compared to the other codes.
Absolutely. And I think everyone has the best interest for the sport. And then at the professional level, it becomes a bit insular. Because, and rightly so, if you're at the Mariners, you're not really care what the Jets are doing, right? Or what Sydney FC, you want to make sure that your own club's really successful.
The best they can.
And then there's layers within a professional environment. You've got football departments and men's and women's teams, and different players in and out, and it's you could say respectfully, it's probably a transition league, and that's the way it's probably going to head in the future. There's a lot of youth, so you get some fantastic young people, and they have success, which you want them to do, and then they've got to be on their path. So then you're managing the fan base where they like the players and then they're gone. So that's difficult. Where you don't have that at the grassroots level, it's really just trying to make sure that, for me, it's can people play sport for life? Yep. Can they be involved at some level, whether playing or behind the scenes in football, and be healthy and have it come into an environment that's really good and really fun. So they're probably the differences, I feel.
What about any lessons that you sort of took from the Mariners that maybe you bring to Berkeley Vale, or even vice versa, that you saw something that Berkeley Vale were doing, maybe you took to the Mariners? Was there any similarities like that? Yeah,
there's some drills that the men's and women's teams do at the Mariners that some of our own teams could do, right? Albeit we need to keep them really simple, for especially in our over 35s environment. I'm just one for, it's about good people. And if you surround yourself with good people and they've got the right intent, and they understand others and others' roles, which sometimes I get. People, if you're not openly talking about it, it's hard for them to understand what an individual's role is. But I think just making sure that we continually have good people around, that's important. That's what I take into the club. That's what we're about at Berkeley Vale. Central Coast Sports College, the same, a really good staff. The community within the sports college is good. So I'm fortunate to, have those environments.
Yep.
And then, try to help and make sure everyone at Berkeley Vale, as best they can, are Mariners fans and support the team.
Well, speaking more on Central Coast Sports College, you're the business development manager. That's your current role. Yep. What sort of opportunity, if people don't know, does the school provide for these young athletes?
It's taken us a while to, I feel, help community understand and for us to equally understand our place, and that is about individual development. It's not about playing competition. We were the 24th club on the coast here at one stage, and that brought huge pros and also some cons, and that was were we doing the right thing by the young kids? Some of them didn't want to play in the academy structures, and development-wise they probably should have. So. And then it positioned us a little bit differently. All of a sudden you become the competition instead of being part of the system. And that's the sports college's role. Individual development, student athletes first and foremost, and everything else bleeds out from there. So working well with the clubs. Rugby league is a great one. We have a strategic partnership with the Sydney Roosters. Guy called John Strange, who was really instrumental in getting the representative pathway for league up here. Work well with them. The kids have opportunities. We have 4 of them playing the under-19s, boys and girls, State of Origin the other night. So that's where we sit. Working with those groups, with the Mariners, working with them. Central Coast United have a really good relationship with those guys. So Matty and Stuart, great people, easy to work with and it's about the individual student athletes' development. So understanding what they need in external and helping external understand that, okay, we're there to support and we can do that. We have a big S&C department by a guy called Paul Knowles, does a brilliant job. There's 3 or 4 staff in that. So we can facilitate a lot of things that clubs can't, and particularly in the younger kids at grassroots level. Like at Berkeley Vale, we can't have an expectation we're going to train the kids the same way. At sports college, got 25 full-time coaching staff. So and 170 staff across the way. So we can't replicate that at a grassroots level. But look, I think we're in a really good place now. To be honest, the sports college, it is it's growing. When I first started and Paul first opened the school, it was 76, 74 football players and 2 tennis players. Now it's around 970, 980 student athletes. Really good mix of female, I think, and males. For a long period of time, it was only about 6% female enrollment, and we're close to around a little bit over 40% now. And that balance is really good. It's good for the young kids, I feel, to have that really good balance across campus. Football's a massive sport for us. It's due participation here on the coast, and it has a good following. Yeah, I feel like we're doing a good job, and we're really cemented that role we play from individual development within the community.
Even the facilities have come such a long way.
Yeah,
That obviously helps and goes a long way for the students and the athletes.
Yeah,
at the school.
100%, and that's really where we come from. What do they need?
Mm-hmm.
And we do a bunch of surveys to parents and to the student athletes and the staff, just around, okay, what does it look like from the child's point of view? And then try to work as hard as we can
Mm-hmm.
behind the scene, which is part of my roles, marketing and partnerships. So making sure we get the right people and around them.
Yep.
And then what does it look like from a facilities perspective? We created the Central Coast Sports College Foundation last year with 2 streams, one scholarships for kids and families who may not be able to come to the sports college from a financial perspective, even though we're quite low paying fees in our from our point of view. Kids get fed lunch and stuff every day. Got 4 full-time chefs, so that's pretty cool. And then the other one is a facilities arm. So it's only quite new, and we're doing a few different things, golf days and trivia, and we had Laurie Daly on site for event the other week, and so we're looking at ways to continually help the student athletes and facilities. Yeah, you're right. They look incredible. I think we have 3, if not 4, greenkeepers now, and just maintaining the site. It's a state government site that we have a long-term lease on, and then the gym, we have some. Yeah, that used to be the old bus maintenance shed. If you've ever been on site, had a look at that. It's come a long way. Yeah, I think we can get around 65, 70 student athletes through that at a time, and that helps. So part of it is rehabilitation and helping the student athletes understand their own bodies. So that's really what that facility is about. And then how do we improve on those? We don't have an indoor facility yet, so that's what we're down the path with and trying to see what we can do. And try to look at grants and things from state government and federal government. And we have some really good, passionate politicians here on the coast. I think Minister Harris, I'm not turning this into a political conversation, but Minister Harris is, he's a huge Mariners fan. He loves sport. Liesl Tash, Gordon Reed, David Meehan, they're just, Adam Krause, they're all good people, I feel, and they're really concentrated on the Central Coast. If I left anyone out, I apologise. So that, you're able to talk to them, get them to understand, and, we're extremely biased about the sports college, obviously, but the Central Coast is a great place. There's a lot of good schools. There's a lot of good things. There's great, sporting opportunities and environments for the kids, I feel. We play a role in it for sure.
The pathways for the athletes are there to achieve through whatever they want through their sporting goals. To make it to a professional level is not the easiest thing. How has the school sort of managed the students are still receiving the highest education that they possibly can? Is it a hard balance, or?
We don't feel it's a hard balance. We feel it's the ultimate balance. Having healthy human beings that are well educated is great. But first and foremost, and you just touched on it, is their own goals. What are their goals? And we get them to articulate that, and it looks different as they get older. We're a K-12 sports college, so it obviously looks different, right? But when they can articulate it really well, and then the coaches are working with that, you get an experience. I think the biggest feedback we get when people come on campus, whether that's families that want to come there or business people or politicians or strategic partners, it's a really good feel on campus, and the comments we get are everyone looks happy, the staff look happy, and from our perspective, that's because they're doing what they want to do. They got opportunity to play sport wherever that takes them. They're not all going to be professional, but that's okay if they want to be the best, play for the over 35s of Berkeley Vale one day. Then our role and our staff's role is to help facilitate that.
Cater to that.
And I feel like we do a good job. I go into some of the classrooms with the advisors and the teachers, and it's just accommodating, and the kids is doing what they love to do. So I think that makes it different. We do big picture, so we don't have an ATAR pathway. However, we have a 100% success rate of any student athlete wanting to get into university, gets into university. And that's based around what their own goals are. And we've got physiotherapists, we've got a girl doing medicine, a couple in that field. So, and then we've got all marketing, and we're covering the gamut. It's not just one particular pathway, and we have a good strategic partnership with the University of Newcastle, and that's great. But there's 19, if not 20, universities now across the country that take kids out of that are on that big picture pathway. Mm-hmm. But to complement sport, because a lot of the challenges for families, and I know that from my own kids, when the boys, they started down here in year 6 and 7, I think. So they were at public schools prior to that. If they're on that sporting pathway, it can be challenging for schools because you're taking them out, and some of them out as they get to the pointy representative, you would know.
Yeah, that's right.
And like you're spending a lot of time out of school. We don't have that challenge. Like that's part of their program. And it's up to us to facilitate and individualize what things look like for them. Mm-hmm. But there's a whole lot of research papers and good information out there that if anyone in life is doing what they're passionate about, they're going to be highly motivated and interested. Yeah. So I think we do that well. And
now on to you personally, you're someone who's led people in grassroots, community level, professional with the Mariners and at an educational level. How do you think your leadership style has changed over the years?
Yeah, so you probably figured out from this I love to talk. I feel like particularly in the last few years I've learnt to listen a whole lot better. I think as a young person I ran a large resort tennis program at the age of memory for like 24 years old, and a big program. We had an international tennis tournament every year that led into the Australian Open. We had the number one players in the world, or men and women. And I led that program young. And when you're young, you're confident, and it's my way or the highway a little bit. I felt like that was, I got to be open. It was probably me. I feel like I'm personable. My mum says I view the world through rose-colored glasses, and I just come from the perspective that every individual is their own individual, and they're doing their best at what they do. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but they do what's in front of them. I treat people how I want to be treated. So I've always had that. I come from a good family background. My mum and dad and my sister, we're really tight-knit family, and I think all kind of good, have quirky sense of humor, so it helps. And then, the last few years, particularly with the multiple roles I've had over the years at the sports college, you have the opportunity, which is thanks to Paul Chapman for giving me that opportunity and to be able to have input and then understand what collaboration looks like, let people have input as well. And while I would say, I feel like that's only my perspective, I do that really well now. I probably maybe didn't do that as well when I was probably in my mid-30s running things. But I was also ran my own business, so a lot of times there's no one else, right?
Yeah, that's it.
You're just doing
relying only on yourself. Yeah.
And we're part of a startup group that we started in the tennis program and then ended up with Greg Norman and started around the early days of the internet, an event called the Shark Challenge. So, I knew what it took like also to have a concept that as a few guys had, and then we took it to fruition and saw what that looked like. And that was, started with about 3 of us in a room, went to 5 or 6 of us in a room, and then it ended up me working King Street in Sydney with Greg Norman's manager and that entity. So learned a lot pretty quickly of how to manage people and pretty big egos. So
what a personality.
A lot of personality. So I feel like, rightly or wrongly, I think it's important as a leader that people understand where you want to head and what your direction, and then allow them to bring things in and add to it, because I don't know everything. So and there's people out there with great ideas and way better thinking than I might have at times. So
still got that open mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just let people contribute and give them as much opportunity to contribute as we can.
Do you ever switch off from sport, or is it just all the time?
All the time. I'm on the board for, you haven't asked me those questions yet, but I'll let one out. On the board for Gosford Area Business Chamber, and we had an event this morning, which was a brilliant event. Alex Zelinsky from Newcastle University spoke. Mike Boyer was there, and Scott Gould from Business New South Wales, amongst others, our Business Chamber board members. But But there was a small piece of me internally that was a bit filthy because the US Open PGA Golf was on coming down the last 9 holes, and Belgium was playing the World Cup. So I was internally thinking, I like being here, but I kind of like being somewhere else too. I don't switch off from sport.
Usually I end the podcast asking someone about what they've done in the past or one of their proudest moments. But for you, I'm going to do things a bit differently.
Okay.
Where does Greg Brownlow see himself in the next 5 to 10 years?
I feel I'm a really proud family man. I have a beautiful wife and 3 incredible kids. And good family that surrounds me. Dad passed away a couple of years ago, but mum's still here. Incredible sister and brother-in-laws, and really tight knit friends. Got some great friends from Newcastle we spend a whole lot of time with, and plus others here on the coast. So, that for me is going to play a continual role to move forward. We got some really exciting stuff that is happening at Berkeley Vale Football Club, and what we're trying to work with Central Coast Football, and then on beyond that with council around what potential we might have as a club and what things could look like in the future. Central Coast Sports College, we've got huge plans for growth and how we manage that. And we've got some really good people around. We have a corporate team now that is strategic, got a really good board, and a Cruikshank who's pretty well known across the coast as chair of the board. Some really good people on the board. So Mark Brown stepped in as principal. Paul's gone to CEO. So that things are in place. Good guy Trent Worrell, who's sports minor, played football his whole life in high level in Sydney, and try not to mention individuals too much because I leave people out, right? And they get angry.
That's the problem.
Another guy, Jesse Manners, deputy principal. So Trent and Jesse are deputies, and Jesse's well-being. So lots of good stuff going to happen there. So I feel like over the next 5 years for me, there's really good opportunity to contribute, and hopefully I do that well. We'll see.
Just more of you in the same sort of roles as we currently see you now.
Yeah, as I said, I'm on the board for the Chamber and also the RDA on that committee, and that's around the Central Coast. And I've been here 14 years now, and it's a wonderful place, and I'm passionate about it because we moved here and our families accept it, and the kids love it, and Jules and I love it. So it makes sense to really get behind what good things are going to happen on the coast, and that's of interest to me to try to see if I can play whatever that role is. And I think I have the opportunity around connection and helping people connect, and let's all work together to make this the best region in the state and in the country if we can. So got lots of things to happen.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing your story and sharing some insight, and we can't wait to see where you do end up in the next few years to come, and where you take Berkeley Vale and the college and everything like that. So very exciting things ahead.
Good man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Greg. Our NPL enters round 11 this weekend, and things kick off on Saturday night as we have 3 games around the coast, all commencing at 7 p.m. Down on the peninsula, we have second place Southern hosting the Dragons at James Brown Oval. Also on the peninsula is Umina at home, and they are taking on Narimba, who are in desperate need of points. Umina coming off a big win, so 3 points in front of a home crowd could see them jump into the top 4. Also coming off a huge win last weekend, Kalania on the road again as they head to Mingara to face the informed Wombats. Berkeley Vale are hitting their stride, and another 3 points will keep them in the race for league champions. On Sunday, our match of the round takes place at Budgewoi Oval, where current league leaders and defending league champions welcome Terrigal to their fortress. Terrigal will be desperate to get back in the winners column and hand Budgie their first defeat of 2026. The final game for round 11 sees Wyoming and Campbell square off at Allendavo. 3 points will go a long way for both of these clubs, so expect this one to be a closely contested contest. WPL round 12 sees all 4 games take place on Sunday at 2:45. Our match of the round sees Terrigal once again in the spotlight as the Tors look to create some breathing distance on the table in this 3rd versus 4th place matchup when they go to battle against the Kincumberoos. The entrants welcome Camel to Pat Morley as both teams search for their second win of the season. Despite the one win, Camel have 4 points on the readies on the ladder, so the entrants will be out to close the distance as they look to lift themselves from last place. Southern look to get their season back on track at home in round 12, but face the toughest task imaginable when they face undefeated league leaders Kalani, who look to further extend their place on top of the ladder with another 3 points on the road. The final fixture of the round goes down at Hilton Moore Oval as East Goss welcome Umina. The Rams are coming off a draw as the second place side look to get back in the winners column, and their opponents search for their first win since the opening round. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Coach Football Weekly. Please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube and leave a rating or review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. As always, we'll catch you next week for another episode.